Hello and welcome. Today I am out on another landscape photography mission, but I'm also today going to be shooting some wildlife photography. I'm come to Seahouses in Northumberland. I'm going over to the Farne Islands to capture some puffins, so it should be a really great day. So come with me. Okay, so we've arrived and we've just suffered a massive downpour, but it was an incredible journey over here. You saw those seals and all the birds on those cliffs. Absolutely unbelievable. But I'm here now. It's not great weather. It's raining. It's due to clear up later, so it should be okay for a landscape shot. What I'm going to do is I'm going for 3 shots. I want one with a sort of puffin portrait. I'm only really interested in the puffins, if I am honest. I want a second one with a portrait with fish in the mouth of the puffin as well, because they dive down into the sea and pull those fish out. And then the third one, I want to try and capture a bird in flight. I've done a tutorial before about how to capture birds in flight, so you might want to check that out if it's something you're interested in, but that's what I'm going to do today. Grim conditions though. I hope it does improve, especially for the landscape stuff later on, but I'm going to get the big lens out now and see what I can do. Right, so at the moment I'm trying to capture some birds in flight. I've got the 400mm lens on. Settings wise, I'm at 1/1600th of a second shutter speed. Puffins are quite fast, so you need to get that shutter speed up as much as possible. I'm then at f8 just to increase the depth of field as well, just to maximize my chances of getting that eye in sharp focus, which is what I'm going for. I'm then at an ISO of about 1250 just to balance out the exposure for the lighting conditions that we've got today. It's tough though. It is tough capturing birds in flight. I'm trying to use the tower that I have over here to get that into the left-hand side of the frame, get the bird flying through on the right-hand side of the frame, and hopefully that will generate just a little bit more interest into the shot, so it's not just that sort of bright sky in the background, which is not what I'm looking for. I do also have a few shots of a puffin flying in front of this grass, so that should be a pretty nice image as well. So far I think I'm doing okay. I'm going to try now and capture a few more. Also, what I didn't mention is you need to be in AF servo mode because you want to be able to track those birds through as they're flying past. Here we go. Right, so bird in flight shot in the bag now. I'm now going to do the portrait. These green leaves cover the nests where the puffins make their nests under the ground, and the key to getting a really nice shot is to get down low, and as the puffins pop out of the nest you can get a really nice portrait. They'll stand there, have a look around before they take off to catch more fish. You get the nice blur in the foreground, you get the puffin nice and sharp in the middle of the frame, and then blow out the background into that background blur, and that makes a really great shot. It's about getting down low though, so you can get along the ground to get that shot. I've already captured one, and it definitely helps to be wearing some kind of raincoat because I've just been showered in the back by some other birds doing their business, but I'm going to capture that shot now. So I've got a nice line through the leaves here to a puffin that's just stood there posing really nicely for me. So I'm going to go vertical on this one. Slightly different settings for the portrait. I'm at about 1/500th of a second, which is enough to get that eye nice and sharp. I'm down to f5.6 to get that maximum or the minimum depth of field and get that nice background blur. And then I am at ISO 500. That's just, you're just using your ISO really to balance out the exposure. And because it's quite dark today, it's overcast, I'm at ISO 500. So let's capture that shot now. Perfect. Right, our time on the island is done. We've got to get back on the boat now, and then got a little gap in the day, probably where we're gonna get some food, and then gonna hang on in this area and find a really nice landscape for tonight. It should be really good. One word of warning when you come to this place is some of these wildlife photographers are angry. My goodness, get in their way and they are not happy. They're also a little bit scary because they're dressed up like they're ready for war. A little bit scary. You got to proper run the gauntlet through these turns. They're everywhere. Cheers. That's it, back on dry land. Serenity Tours, the best in Seahouses, particularly if you're into your photography and wildlife photography. Good stuff. So we've come to this little cove, and it's a really nice secret little cove almost. We've had to trek through some pretty strange and remote places to get here. I don't actually know where it is, somewhere in Northumberland, but it's absolutely beautiful. And it has this waterfall here. Lyle's got the drone up at the moment. I've got a nice little composition. I've walked up this sort of hill just a little bit to get a raised view of the pool down at the bottom of the waterfall. I've then got a big rock in the foreground and then the waterfall in the shot as well. So it's just capturing the whole cove from this slightly raised up position. I've got a big dynamic range between the sky and the trees above the waterfall, and then the dark area below it. So I'm bracketing as always. I've only gone one stop either side on this occasion, but I'm at f8 because I haven't got anything particularly close to the lens. I'm at ISO 100, and then I have a shutter speed of roughly about 2 seconds, and then, like I said, one stop either side of that. I've got the circular polarizer on as well to take all the sheen off the water, all the sheen off the wet rocks behind the waterfall as well, so it's going to be nice and dark and black on the rocks. It's really going to contrast against the surrounding area as well. There's a little cave sort of almost underneath the rock there as well. So it should, all in all, be a nice little composition, something I wasn't even expecting today, but it's nice when you're traveling around with someone else who knows these little areas to really make the most of it. I think I've done that with this shot. A nice little stop off. Now, after we've done this, we're gonna head up into, or just across the border into Scotland, where we've got a nice little spot picked out for the sunset. The weather has come really nice as well. There's some really fluffy white clouds in the sky with nice bits of blue. Hopefully it'll stay like that until sunset, and then we'll be on. So here I am, the last location of the day, and can you believe how remarkable, how amazing, how stunning this place is? I'm at St Abbs in Scotland, just over the border from England. It's not actually a place I've been to before. It's not somewhere that's particularly famous, is it? But my goodness, it is just a sensational place. I think I'm gonna go for 2 or 3 compositions. I've already found my composition that I'm gonna get for sunset back on the top. We'll talk through that in a bit, but I'm down here grabbing my first shot. So I've got the camera low on this jetty that I'm stood on here, and I've got this massive rock behind me here, sort of blocking the sun from the actual lens of the camera because I don't want any flare in the shot. I'm pretty much just going for the composition that is behind me because the light on those cliffs and the sort of sea haze is just absolutely beautiful. I think it'll make for a really straightforward but beautiful composition to start with. In the frame, I have the sea sort of right in the foreground, and I'm going for a long exposure of about 4.5 minutes. I'm hoping that the sea sort of swirls around and forms a nice bit of interest in the foreground to sort of then lead you up into those beautiful cliffs. I'm at f8 to get maximum sharpness for the image because there's nothing particularly going to be sharp in the foreground. It's just going to be that nice soft sea. And then I'm at ISO 100, but my goodness, places like this just make you, they inspire you. Just the landscape on its own is inspiring, and wow, just wow. I'm almost lost for words. Brilliant. Right, last shot of the day, and I'm up on the cliff. The camera's set up, and that is pretty much my vista. I've got, composition-wise, I've got the bay that we were just down in, sort of leading me in to the image on the left-hand side, and then I've got the cliffs also doing the same thing and providing that real nice bit of interest. I've then got this sort of flowery bank that I'm sat on at the moment, adding a nice bit of foreground interest. So I think the composition is pretty good. The light is just dipping down behind that horizon cloud, which seems to follow me around the UK. I think I've probably lost the best of the light now. I have already captured an image though, and I think it's looking pretty sensational. I'm not going to talk through that shot all the way through, but just simply astounding day of landscape photography. Just one of the very best days that I've had outside of my family for a very long time, although I had a pretty good time up in the Lake District, but just remarkable day. And this place is just simply incredible. I know I say it a lot, but the feeling of well-being that you get from coming to places like this, capturing beautiful landscapes like this, is just, it's just second to none in terms of making you feel good, feel alive, and also feel healthy. It's actually almost quite emotional today. I've had such a good day. It's been very, very busy. I've worked exceptionally hard. I've also got about a 4-hour drive home, which starts at 10 p.m. So it'll be a very late night for me, but it's been worth it. Another great day of landscape photography. Please do leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. I'd really like to hear, did you enjoy seeing some of the wildlife stuff? What do you think of this place? All those sorts of things. I'd really like to hear from you. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel as well. I'll see you on another one very soon. This one has been incredible though, and I'm gonna stand up for this as usual, being quite careful not to fall down that bank. I'm Adam. This is First Man Photography in Scotland. Out.